Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're taking a trip to the Himalayas.
Ooh, the Himalayas.
Yeah, to explore the world of those delicious Himachal Pradesh apples.
Ooh, yeah, love those.
We're going way beyond just a simple taste test, though.
Okay.
We'll uncover how these apples are basically the backbone of a whole region.
Wow.
We'll look at their role in the economy, culture, and even how they fit into the global market.
It's amazing how much there is to unpack about just one fruit.
It really is.
Yeah.
So first, let's just set the scene, paint a picture for our listeners. Imagine yourself in Himachal Pradesh, called the Apple State of India,
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
nestled high up in the Himalayas.
Breathtaking scenery, I bet.
Absolutely stunning. We're talking about districts like Shimla,
I've heard of that one.
Kullu, Kangra, Mandi, and Chamba,
Got it.
all famous for their apple orchards.
So why the Himalayas? Why are they so perfect for growing these apples?
Well, the Himalayas provide that perfect mix of climate and soil that apple trees just love. At those high altitudes, ranging from 1,000 to 2,200 meters,
Wow, that's high.
you get those ideal cool summers and cold winters.
Okay, perfect for apple trees.
Exactly. And the soil is well drained, slightly acidic, and full of organic matter.
Like a 5-star meal for those trees.
Precisely. It's like nature designed it just for them.
Hmm.
All right, now let's meet the stars of our show, the apples. Himachal Pradesh grows quite the variety. Some we all know, some are a bit more unique. Of course, there's your classic red delicious, golden delicious,
Oh, yeah, those are staples.
always a crowd pleaser. And how can we forget royal delicious?
Can't go wrong with those.
But for those who like a bit of tang, there's the Granny Smith.
Ooh, my favorite for pies.
And gaining popularity, we have the Fuji, known for its satisfying crunch.
Interesting. But I'm more interested in the local varieties.
Oh, tell me more.
Things like Kullu and Patiala, for example.
I've never even heard of those.
They've been cultivated there for generations.
Wow.
Really tied to the region's history and offer a taste, that's uniquely Himachal Pradesh.
That's fascinating. Makes you appreciate the cultural impact of these apples.
Exactly. Take Kullu, for instance.
Yeah.
Deep red flesh, often used in local festivals and ceremonies.
So it's not just a fruit.
Not at all. It's a symbol of their heritage.
I love that. But let's talk business now. The economics. Horticulture, especially apples, is a huge part of Himachal Pradesh's economy, right?
Absolutely. We're talking livelihoods, families, entire communities built around these apples.
It's a lot more than just a snack.
Right. Just to illustrate the scale, Himachal Pradesh produces over 5 lakh metric tons of apples annually.
Wow, that's a lot of apples.
More than half their total fruit production. It's an economic engine, employing everyone from farmers to orchard workers, packers, transporters, even market vendors.
So with so much riding on these apples, what kind of support system exists for these growers? I mean, how do they navigate challenges and make sure they can keep growing?
The government steps in with a helping hand.
Okay, good.
They provide subsidies for essential equipment. They offer crop insurance to protect against, those unpredictable Himalayan weather patterns.
Smart move.
And they've put a lot of effort into creating cold storage facilities.
Right, to keep those apples fresh.
Exactly. And then there's the Dr. Yashwant Singh Parmar University of Horticulture and Forestry in Solan.
What do they do?
They're dedicated to research and development, always looking for ways to boost apple quality and yield.
It sounds like a comprehensive system, but I have to ask, does this support actually reach every farmer, especially those in really remote areas, or those with smaller farms? Are there any downsides? Maybe it favors larger farms.
You're hitting on some really important points, and to be honest, like any system, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
The goal is to support everyone, but reaching every single grower can be tricky.
I can imagine.
Access to resources, information, it all kind of depends on your location and the size of your operation. It's a complex issue, and there's a lot of debate on how to make it work for everyone, fairly and sustainably.
It sounds like there are tough questions that need answers. But even beyond government support, there are other challenges, right? Like climate change.
Oh, absolutely. A major concern.
I mean, these orchards are nestled right in the Himalayas.
It's got unseasonal rains, early snowfall, and those temperatures always changing can really mess with the delicate balance those apple trees depend on.
That's a scary thought.
Even a late frost can wipe out the blossoms, and that's the entire year's harvest gone.
So these farmers are basically on the front lines of climate change.
They are. And on top of that, you have pests and diseases.
Oh, right. They love warmer temperatures.
Exactly. It makes it even more challenging for these farmers.
So what are they doing to adapt Are there any clever strategies in play?
One promising solution is IPM, integrated pest management. It's all about minimizing those harmful chemicals and encouraging natural pest control methods.
That sounds good.
Things like beneficial insects, pheromone traps, crop rotation, all those kinds of things.
So they're working with nature, not against it.
Exactly. And some are trying out drought-resistant rootstocks.
Interesting.
Even changing their pruning techniques to handle those unpredictable temperature swings.
Wow, a lot of ingenuity and resilience at work here.
It's impressive.
But let's not forget about the apples themselves. Once they're harvested, they start a journey from those Himalayan orchards to markets all over India and even beyond.
It's quite the adventure.
Makes you wonder how they keep those apples so fresh and tasty throughout the whole trip.
Well, that's where those cold storage facilities we mentioned come in.
Right.
They keep those apples in tip-top shape, ensuring they reach the consumer in pristine condition. But it's not just storage. There's also a growing focus on processing those apples.
Processing.
Turning them into juices, jams, and sauces.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
It's a great way to avoid waste, make the apples last longer, and of course, add more value to what they've harvested.
Smart thinking. What about those export markets you mentioned earlier?
Right.
How are Himachal Pradesh apples doing on the global stage? Any unique hurdles or opportunities they face out there?
They're definitely making a name for themselves.
That's great.
Places like the Middle East, Europe, and Southeast Asia are starting to recognize the quality and those unique flavors.
And what about competition?
It's fierce out there.
Yeah.
There's a huge demand for organic produce, so that's both a challenge and an opportunity for Himachal Pradesh growers.
So are they moving towards more organic practices?
Many of them are.
Good for them.
They're seeing the benefits not just for the planet, but also for their own health. And, well, let's be honest, organic produce commands a higher price.
Of course.
The transition isn't easy, though.
Yeah.
It takes dedication and investment, but it's definitely a trend that's picking up.
It's interesting how consumer preferences are driving real change on the ground. I'm also curious about the environmental impact of apple cultivation in a place like Himachal Pradesh, particularly when it comes to their limited water resources. What are they doing about water conservation?
Water's precious up in the Himalayas, and apple trees, well, they need a lot of it.
True.
Drip irrigation is becoming more and more popular. It delivers water straight to the roots, cuts down on waste.
Makes sense.
And farmers are getting creative with water harvesting.
Oh, how so?
Collecting rainwater and runoff to replenish those groundwater levels.
It's like they're walking a tightrope between cultivating those delicious apples and protecting that fragile Himalayan ecosystem.
It's a constant balancing act.
But before we move on, I want to circle back to those local apple varieties, especially the Kullu.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned it's used in ceremonies and festivals. Can you tell us a bit more about its cultural significance?
Well, in a lot of Himalayan communities, apple harvest time is like a huge celebration.
I can imagine.
They have festivals dedicated to the apple deity, and apples are often offered at temples.
And the Kullu.
It's considered especially lucky, auspicious, with that striking red flesh. It's like a symbol of the strong connection between the people of Himachal Pradesh and the land they farm.
I love that. It's not just about logistics and profits. It's about culture, tradition, and a deep respect for nature.
Exactly.
It makes me even more excited to talk about the future of this industry.
There's a lot to discuss, from new technologies to sustainable practices and how they navigate this ever-changing global market. The future of Himachal Pradesh apples is brimming with both potential and challenges.
Can't wait to dig into all that in our next segment.
It'll be fascinating.
But for now, we'll leave our listeners with a picture of those vibrant apple orchards scattered across those breathtaking Himalayan slopes. A true testament to the hard work, creativity, and cultural legacy of Himachal Pradesh.
A beautiful image. It really is a captivating scene.
And it really speaks to the balance between nature and human effort. Speaking of the future, let's look at what's next for these Himachal Pradesh apples. I'm interested in the steps being taken to make sure the industry keeps growing, but in a sustainable way.
Well, one key area is just expanding the cultivation, but using newer, more advanced techniques.
Okay.
The government is pushing for something called high-density planting.
What's that?
Basically, you plant more trees per hectare, which leads to higher yields overall.
Glitter on.
And they're promoting these dwarf rootstocks.
Dwarf rootstocks.
Yeah, they produce smaller trees that are just easier to manage, easier to harvest.
That sounds great on the surface, but are there any downsides to this kind of intensive farming?
Oh, of course, there are always trade-offs. You bring up a good point.
I mean, are they worried about things like soil degradation or needing to use more fertilizers and pesticides?
Absolutely. Which is why the focus is on sustainable intensification.
Okay, so increase yields, but try to minimize the impact on the environment.
Right. That means encouraging organic farming, using those integrated pest management techniques we talked about, and of course water conservation like drip irrigation.
It sounds like the farmers are realizing that a healthy environment means a healthy business in the long run.
Definitely. But even with all those efforts, climate change is still a huge threat, right?
Sure.
So what can they do to, lessen the impact, build resilience into the industry itself?
Yeah, what are they doing?
Well, researchers are hard at work developing climate-resilient apple varieties, ones that can handle hotter temperatures and unpredictable weather.
That would be huge.
And they're exploring other techniques like grafting.
Okay, I've heard of that.
You take a more resilient rootstock and you basically combine it with a good apple variety.
So it's kind of like giving that good apple variety a stronger foundation.
Exactly. So there's a lot of research, a lot of experimentation happening to try and find ways to protect the industry from, the unknowns of climate change.
It really shows how science and innovation can step in to address some of these pressing issues. But let's move away from the orchards themselves for a minute and talk about the market. We've discussed the economics, but I want to know more about the actual journey these apples take from the Himalayas to our tables.
It's a long and complex process.
I bet.
First, you've got the harvesting, obviously. Then they meticulously sort those apples by quality and size. Then comes the packing, using all kinds of modern techniques to keep them fresh and prevent bruising during transport.
I imagine that logistics must play a crucial role in all of this.
Oh, for sure. Especially given the mountainous terrain of Himachal Pradesh.
Yeah. Those winding roads must be a nightmare for trucks.
Trucks are the primary mode of transport.
Right.
Hauling those apples from the orchard to the distribution centers and eventually to markets all across India. Luckily, the government has put a lot of effort into improving those roads.
To make transport smoother and faster.
Exactly. Speed is key with perishable goods.
It really highlights how everything is connected. The infrastructure, the logistics, they all contribute to getting that final product into our hands. Speaking of reaching consumers, what about the international market? How do Himachal Pradesh apples compete on a global scale?
Branding is key. Himachal Pradesh is working hard to establish its own unique identity in the global apple market.
So they're emphasizing those unique flavors.
Absolutely. And the quality, that pristine Himalayan environment.
Makes sense.
They're also pursuing certifications like organic and geographical indication tags.
So they're appealing to a more discerning customer.
Precisely. The kind of customer willing to pay a premium for high-quality, sustainably produced fruit.
It's amazing how those consumer preferences can shape an entire industry. But with all this focus on organic and sustainable practices, how do they stack up against the competition? Are there other countries that pose a real threat to Himachal Pradesh apples in the global market?
Well, you can't ignore China. They're huge in the global apple market, known for mass production and very competitive prices.
Tough to beat.
And then you've got countries like the United States, Poland, and Italy. They all have thriving apple industries. So Himachal Pradesh needs to find its niche.
So they're focusing on those unique qualities.
Exactly. Emphasize what makes them stand out, maintain consistent quality, and ensure they have reliable supply chains.
It sounds like a delicate balancing act. Compete in that global market while still preserving what makes those Himachal Pradesh apple so special.
Exactly. But there's one more piece of the puzzle we can't forget about: technology.
Oh, right. Technology is changing everything these days.
From the orchard to the market, it's playing a bigger and bigger role.
So how is technology being used specifically in the Himachal Pradesh apple industry?
Well, you've got things like precision farming techniques.
Okay, like what?
Think sensors, data analysis. They help optimize fertilizer and water use.
So they're using technology to be more efficient.
And more sustainable. Then there are these digital platforms connecting farmers directly with buyers.
Wow, so they're cutting out the middleman.
Streamlining the process, making market access easier, and there's even talk of using blockchain technology.
Blockchain for apples?
Yep, to track the journey of every apple, from the orchard to the consumer. Full transparency, full traceability.
It sounds like technology is not only making things run smoother, but it's also giving more power to both the farmers and the consumers.
It's true. But with all this talk about technology, it's important not to lose sight of the human element.
Right, those thousands of people whose livelihoods depend on this industry.
Absolutely. There's a growing movement toward fair trade practices.
That's good to hear. What does that look like?
Fair wages for workers, access to healthcare and education, and safe working conditions.
Those are essential.
Consumers are becoming more aware and they're demanding ethically sourced products, and that's pushing the industry towards a more sustainable and equitable approach.
It's inspiring to see those positive changes taking place, but I'm also thinking about the small-scale farmers.
Yeah.
How do they keep up in this ever-changing market? How do they compete with those larger players?
It's tough, but they're finding ways to adapt. Cooperatives are becoming more common.
So strength in numbers.
Exactly. Small-scale farmers are pooling their resources, sharing knowledge, and marketing their produce together.
So they can reach bigger markets and get better prices.
Exactly. They're realizing that collaboration and community support are crucial for their survival. It's truly inspiring to see how these farmers are coming together to face those challenges head-on.
It really is. But let's shift gears for a moment and go back to the apples themselves. We've talked about the varieties, how they're grown, the market. But what about their nutritional value? What about the health benefits?
Well, apples are a nutritional powerhouse.
I always knew they were good for you, but tell me more.
Well, for starters, they're an excellent source of fiber.
Keeps you feeling full.
Exactly. And they're packed with vitamin C and potassium. And don't forget about those antioxidants.
Antioxidants, good for fighting off those free radicals.
You got it. Research even suggests that eating apples regularly can improve heart health, lower your risk of certain cancers, and even help regulate blood sugar levels.
Wow, so those Himachal Pradesh apples are not only delicious, but they're doing wonders for your health too.
Absolutely. But we've talked a lot about the practical side of things. What about those cultural traditions associated with these apples?
Yeah, you mentioned festivals and ceremonies, but are there any other beliefs or traditions tied to apples in Himachal Pradesh?
Oh, apples are woven into the very fabric of their culture.
Oh yeah.
They often symbolize prosperity, fertility, good health.
I love those associations.
In some areas, apple trees are considered sacred, even worshipped during certain festivals. And they're celebrated in their folklore, their songs. The apple harvest is a really special time.
It's amazing how a single fruit can be so deeply ingrained in a culture's identity. It really adds a whole new layer to our understanding of the Himachal Pradesh apple industry. It's incredible to think that something as simple as an apple can have such a profound impact on a culture's history and traditions.
And let's not forget the economics and the environment. It really highlights how interconnected everything is.
As we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Himachal Pradesh apples, I'm left with a feeling of deep respect for the people, the land, and the delicate balance they've created.
It's a story of resilience, innovation, and a deep-rooted connection to nature.
We've uncovered a lot of challenges facing the Himachal Pradesh apple industry. Climate change, global market competition, the constant push for sustainability.
It's not an easy path.
But I'm also really inspired by the solutions they're coming up with, their collaborative spirit, and their commitment to preserving this industry.
There's a real sense of hope and determination.
Looking back on everything we've learned, what are some key takeaways you'd want to leave our listeners with?
I think the biggest takeaway for me is that our choices as consumers have a ripple effect.
In what way?
Well, when we pick up an apple, we're not just buying a piece of fruit. We're supporting an entire ecosystem.
The farmers, the workers, the environment.
Exactly. It makes you think twice about where your food comes from and the impact of your choices.
It encourages us to be more mindful consumers, to look for products that align with our values.
I couldn't agree more. And I think it's also crucial to recognize how interconnected everything is. The climate, the soil, market trends, even cultural traditions, they all play a role in shaping the apple industry.
It reminds us that food is more than just fuel. It's a story, a journey, a reflection of our relationship with the natural world.
Beautifully said.
So, as we say goodbye to our listeners, I'd like to encourage them to take a moment the next time they bite into a Himachal Pradesh apple. Savor the flavor, appreciate the journey it took to get to your plate, and think about the people and the land that made it possible.
It's a simple act, but it's a powerful way to connect with a distant culture and a sustainable way of life.
And with that, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the world of Himachal Pradesh apples. We hope you've enjoyed the journey and learned something new along the way.
Happy exploring, everyone.